Hey there, and thanks for tuning in to another question and answer session. Each week, I answer your questions. To reach out to me, send me your questions over on Instagram at dr.tracyd or head to my website and complete my form to send me an email, drtracyd.com. And be sure to check me out in the blog, drtracyd.com/blog. Let me read this question. It says, "Hi, I love and read every little thing that you say. I'm one of those quiet fans of yours. If you are one of those quiet fans, reach out to me. I love this community, and I'm so glad this individual reached out to me and asked this question." Now, the question is around recently discovering something painful about herself, that her lack of body confidence and difficulties in certain areas of her body is likely contributing to difficulties with her intimacy with her partner. I am so glad that this question was asked because we know that what happens inside of our minds, how we feel about ourselves, the thoughts that we have, greatly contributes to what happens to our body. And oftentimes we are disconnected between our mind and our body, kind of like having a cut right here. We are disconnected, or we spend, and we spend all this time up here, which means that what happens in intimacy is that we then are spectating. So instead of being in the moment and actually fully experiencing our bodies, which is what's required to have great sex, and instead we're watching ourselves, we're questioning, how does my body look? We might be inside ourselves, so thinking about, how does my body look? What's it doing? What about in this position? Or I can't let them show this part. Or we might be busy thinking about what they're thinking. What do they think of how do I look? Are they noticing this part of me? And being caught in our minds will lead us to experience lower desire and arousal, and it will not allow us to enjoy pleasure with our partners. We also know that there are toxic emotions that come up in our relationships that stop us from fully engaging with our partners. So one of those emotions might be things like guilt. So maybe feeling guilty about how you approach your partner, or feeling guilty with the things that you do or don't do. Or there might also be a level of shame. And shame would be things like, I'm bad, I'm defective. Because my body looks a certain way, it means there's something wrong with me. Now, there will be many different things that you can do to help deal with this. But one of the first things I will say is that if you are struggling with this, reach out to a licensed mental health provider to help you start diving into some of the struggles you're having in terms of how you feel about yourself and your body. Some of the tools that you might consider using. Now, one, you might want to find a statement of acceptance or some kind of affirmation. You have been spending so much time thinking up here and telling yourselves the same thing over and over again. And I imagine this is often what happens, is that anytime we look in the mirror, or we try on a piece of clothing, or we're undressing with our partners, our mind immediately focuses on this part. So what's the story that you're telling yourself? This has been on repeat for a long time. Now, where that message comes from is important for you to think about. Is it coming from the images that you're consuming all the time? Is it coming from, other messages of other people in your life? Is it coming from how maybe your parents talked about their own bodies? There are so many different ways that this can show up for you. And what's important here, though, is that you then find some kind of statement of acceptance, radical acceptance, to help you in these moments. Now, the other thing that's really difficult about this is that we're over here with our bodies, and then we want to be over here and have this ultimate acceptance. And so we'll say something like, I love my body just how it is. Now, if you're used to being over here, it's going to be much harder to be over here. And so what is a smaller shift that you could use? One of the things you might do is you might start to say, I'm learning to accept this part of my body. I'm learning to love this part of my body. I'm even seeing the function of this part of my body. It's really important that we can start being able to tune into not just how our bodies look, but what is it that our body does for us? So does your body get you to places? Can it move you? Can it help you interact? Here's my body, and it's sitting here with you, and it's communicating. And it's much more powerful than what we do when we narrowly focus on one part of our bodies. You might also choose to do some mirror work. Look into the mirror, and instead of focusing on that one part of your body or the parts that you don't like, focus on you as a whole. look into your eyes, build that acceptance for you, say your statement to yourself. And I want you to not just stand in a mirror that's on the waist up, but you might also try standing naked in front of the mirror and looking at your body as a whole. Be mindful of what images you are consuming through social media or through other media outlets in your life. We are bombarded by how women should look, how individuals should show up. We are told constantly how to dress, how to look. This is going to be important when it comes to bringing acceptance to our bodies. Now, these are some things that you can do within yourself, but there are also things that you can be doing with your partner. So, one of the things would be learning to get really present in the moment. I would actually want you to start practicing this outside of the bedroom. So, find some mindfulness exercises or a different app that might be helpful and just practice getting really present in your environment. You might practice tuning into your breath, just taking nice, slow, deep breaths and noticing the rise and the fall of your chest, or looking around specifically at what kinds of things you notice or that you can touch. Getting present is going to be important when you are being intimate so that you're not being caught up in your mind. I am so glad that you submitted this question, as I know many women can relate to not feeling confident in their bodies. Remember, the information in this video is for informational purposes only and does not substitute the care for a licensed mental health provider. And remember, you are right where you need to be.